Hello, this is the Mind and Muse Crafts podcast, and today I am your host, Maleficent. Please beware that what you are about to see may cause heartburn. Well, I don't think I can continue with that persona for too long, so I am going to return. Welcome to episode 35 of Mind and Muse Crafts, and as always, underneath all of the glamour, I am your host, Caroline, and this is what I'm going to call my Halloween special. So, what you are seeing now is the first of those projects that have reached the end of the line, and this part of my recording is always called Walking the Talk because it is meant for me to share with you how I would use, wear, or exhibit those projects that I work on. So, I don't believe you saw even the beginning of this, but over the past couple of weeks, one of my projects has been my horned headband. The horned headband is a paid-for pattern, but it is a very small contribution that you make. I believe it was $1 on Etsy. And I will, in the description box below, include the name of the designer and her shop on Etsy because, as you will notice, as Maleficent, I am not wearing my glasses, and therefore I have no capability of reading or even looking at my tablet to select the different icons that will take me where I would like to go. But I can tell you that this was called the Horn Headband. It was purchased for $1 on either Etsy or Ravelry, and it might not even be that. It might have been the designer's own shop. I can't remember right now. But let's see. What can I tell you about it? I can tell you that I used Red Heart Super Saver in black, held double, and a 5.5 millimeter hook. And I do believe that you could even do this with a bulky weight. And it might even be a bit better because I did find that with my 5.5 millimeter hook, there was still more space in between the crochet stitches than I would have liked for this type of project. So, when the construction is not difficult, you can probably just look at it and imagine there is a headband. The horns are attached to the headband. That's it. But one thing that I did do differently, since I did see that my stitches were a bit open, even though I was using, worsted weight held double, still, when I stuffed the horns, I used a black sock, and I put the stuffing into the black sock. It made them firmer, which was a side product because it really wasn't the what I was looking for. It wasn't the objective of filling the sock. It was just that so that you could not see my white filling coming out through the holes. So at this point, I do believe the pattern is adjustable. It's not very difficult to modify. So if you needed a larger headband, or if you needed a smaller headband, you could probably do that. I believe I made the larger size. And I still found it quite small. So, but that is a good thing because the headband, if it is really, it'll stretch. Obviously, it's crochet, but it's really, really tight. So I have no fear of this coming off of my head at all. Not even. So it is very comfortable. I do have a net underneath. I have a black net underneath one of those wig nets because I didn't want anything coming through the holes like my hair or anything like that. So if you're planning on using it, and I also think that I would have made the horns longer because I follow the pattern exactly, but then when I was looking up to do my Maleficent outfit, I realized, and when I saw the second movie that came out last week here on the island, well, I realized that these should have been longer and like waving towards the back, and I'm pretty sure it could have been done because you give the horns their shape once they are full, once they are stuffed, so it's not the shape isn't actually, you don't shape it through your crochet. So it's basically once you start out, I guess, and I guess all this is basically the same size, but you're just giving it the shape once after you have stuffed it firmly. So today is the 29th of October, if I haven't said so. Yes, it's the 29th. It is Monday. So it's not the 29th, it's the 28th. Today is Monday the 28th. I wanted the podcast to be uploaded tomorrow so that there will be a couple of days before Halloween. For some people, after a holiday is gone by, they don't want to enjoy things that have to do with that holiday. So just in case, I wanted it to go up a couple of days earlier. Plus, it should have gone out last week, but I had family at home, and I find it still difficult and uncomfortable to record when there are other people in the house. So I usually wait until I'm totally alone to do this. So I didn't do it last week. I didn't. I am doing it today, and hopefully I'll be able to upload it tomorrow, and you will be able to see me in my fully made Maleficent look. Horns, chiseled out cheeks, and I say that, but I really can't even see myself because I have no glasses on, and very, very, very exaggerated eyelashes. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little setup with me. I mean, it is time consuming for me to do this type of thing, and basically it's not even Halloween, and basically I will not be going anywhere with this makeup. It's all for you. It is all for you to enjoy along with me, to have a couple of laughs, and to get the feeling that I could participate in some type of masquerade, and I would actually carry the look well. What do you think? So, speaking about the wedding that just passed, you all know that I finished my dress and I showed it to you, those of you that follow me on Instagram. And so in this recording I am going to include a short video of a short recording that we did. Well, a short recording that Clarissa made for me of me parading around in that dress. So most of all of that was done the last time we shared this conversation. The only thing that I had left to do was to create the gloves that I wanted to use. Oh, and I don't know if I talked about making earrings here, but I really didn't get around to it. Things got too busy. But I did make the gloves. If you I was following a free pattern by Cynthia Matthews that is the bridal gloves, and so I made several versions. I think this was one of the versions that I put up on my Instagram feed, this gray version that I thought about wearing with the dress. Didn't look too contrasty to me. I also made the this was the Aunt Lydia's lilac that I figured, oh, well, it was basically the same color as the dress, but then I didn't know if it was too much purple. So ultimately, even though I like this version very much, it is Aunt Lydia's. The thread that I had was number 3, so it was a bit thicker than the thread suggested by the pattern. She uses a number 10, but I actually liked it. I think it gave it more support. It allowed it to, it was a bit sturdy, and so it didn't move around your hand as much. But the girls also suggested against it, so I ended up making this version. This is the completed version. That one didn't have the closure on it. This was number 10. I don't think it was Aunt Lydia's. It was probably Omega. This was the number 10. And yes, I did make 2 of them. And I paraded around with them basically all night long. There was no, they didn't bother me at all. They weren't too tight. They were actually, I felt, a bit loose. Something that I didn't think would have happened if I had used the other version with the thicker yarn, because the glove was sturdier, and so it didn't really move around a lot. But these were fine. My shoes were actually the same color, so I thought that yeah, it just kind of like stopped all the lilac and gave me, because my dress was lilac, the belt was lilac, my underdress was lilac, my bra and panty were lilac too. So I figured that this gave it a little change. It was the same color as my shoes, and yes. So if you ever need something like this, they only have a front side. They don't have a back side to them. But they're very easy to make up. They take up very little yarn. And actually, the second one of these I made the Saturday before my son's wedding. We made a trip to San Juan because he was receiving visits from the States, and he wanted to meet up with them and kind of like show them around for a bit. And so we went there, and on the drive there, I made the second one because and lucky that I did, because I wouldn't have had time to do any of that once we were back at home. So they were done, just finish line type of thing. I mean, right at the last moment, but they were they added to the look, I felt, and they kind of completed it, if you want to say, because I thought having something little dainty and pretty like that on the fingers was. Matter of fact, I should have made some today for my outfit. They would have looked very nice with my Maleficent outfit, even though she doesn't wear them. So that was a little make that was still carrying on the wedding theme to this podcast and saying goodbye to it, because I will no longer talk about that wedding. I will include some videos and some pictures, because I know that even though we are not acquainted in such a way that you will actually know the people that are there, you can see me, you will see Clarissa Beth, and out of context, just by seeing the way people are acting, you will know who is who, and kind of share that with me, since I've shared everything else about it with you over this period of time, so you can also share that with me. It was a marvelous celebration. We had lots of fun, and it was really nice for everybody. I think the decoration was beautiful, and I guess the only negative thing about it was that it actually poured down rain about maybe 1 hour before the wedding, and the wedding was supposed to be outside. Well, it ended up, the ceremony was going to be outside, and so it just poured down terribly. Terribly. But it did stop. Not exactly at the time that the wedding was supposed to begin. We had to wait for a while, but it did stop, and we were able to carry out all the ceremony. They were able to take all their pictures, all the photographs, and we had a lovely time. So thank you for joining me on this, and I hope you will enjoy this insert, so that kind of culminate the climax to all of this that I was sharing with you and talking about. that, I also continued working on the spiraled cord that I had spoke about for my All Hallows bracelet set. And if you were interested in that and how to make those bracelets that I showed you the last time, I have written up a post, a blog post called Spooky Makes on my site, which is mindandmusecrafts.com. And the last post there is my Spooky Make post, and I have a parade there of all the different Halloween makes that I made this season. But at the end, I do have like a small photographic. It's not actually a tutorial, but it is more or less simply a description of how I made the bracelet, because I include links to the two videos that I used that I thought were very clear on how to work into that horizontal bar that is on the back side of your single crochet work, how to find it and how to keep identifying it each time you go around, especially that first line, which is the most difficult, that first row, which is the most difficult one. And so I have included those two videos, so I don't actually explain how to make the spiral, but I do explain how long to make it for the size of the bracelet that I made, and how to attach and the endings, the combs to the end, and the little charms and the closure and all that. It's a short little description. It might not be all that useful, but I put it there just in case anybody was interested. And so I continued to make those spirals, because you have to like make it several times to get good at it. And so here's another project that I made. Okay, the cord, the spiral cord, is here. I have no idea what type of yarn this is. It was something that Elizabeth left around the house, and I found it. And I said, well, I think there's just enough to use up the whole whatever was left. And I didn't even weigh it, so I can't even tell you how much it is. And I made this kind of chunky long spiral, and I thought the chunky long spiral looked very nice with this large, very large shell that I picked up on one of my visits to the beach. Okay. So I have it could be worn this way if you wanted to, no problem, but I thought that I would wear it this way. And I also thought, I asked my brother, who is a handyman, all-around handyman, if he could please make a hole to the very top of the shell. It had no hole in it, and he was able to do it without breaking the shell, because it was the only one that I had. I was going to be very unhappy if he had broken it, but he was able to do it. And so I put a wire with a loop at the bottom. This is stainless steel crafting wire, and I put a big loop at the bottom. I put beads on it to make sure that there wasn't too much pressure on that hole. So there's a crystal bead at the bottom and another crystal bead at the top. And then I finished off with a larger and even larger loop, so that I could, because I thought I didn't want to attach it to the cord. It's crochet, it's going to stretch, and that stretching might not look very attractive, but also because I figured I could take it off and then put a different pendant on this if I didn't want the shell. So I made that very large loop at that end, and smaller one on the inside, and then to the one that was on the inside, obviously, I attached all pearls that I could find. These are all the pearls that I could find. Red pearls and green pearls and yellow pearls, freshwater pearls, and mother of pearl. So the mother of pearl is actually from this type of material, and I really like it. I really like it. Fortunately, I won't be able to wear it this week because this is Halloween week, so I will have to get out my Halloween jewelry, but I think that is very attractive. I like it quite a bit. So I see more of the spiral. Hopefully you can see the different. I didn't bring an I-cord with me so you can see the different, but I really like that texture a lot. And so there's another jewelry make for you. Not the type at all that Maleficent would use. unless Maleficent were living on this island instead of living on the one that she was living on. Appears that it could get a little bit cold there. It doesn't get cold here at all. And so that is another one of my makes. It appears that I actually have nothing on my hook. All of the projects that I have started for the beginning October have been completed. And so there will be no pressing on. There will be no pressing on section for this episode. I still have one more end of the line project. I wanted Maleficent to have her little friend, and I cannot remember right now how he is called. But remember that Maleficent always has a crow that sits with her, or a raven. Actually, he's a raven. And so, here. Does that look better? I found this pattern on the internet. It is a paid for pattern on Etsy, I believe. And it was meant to be the raven. I will again put up all the information of this site where you can find the little shop where you can purchase this if you are interested. But basically, if you were to Google crochet raven, this will come up because it's one of the few ones that you can actually see when in the images. So it is a very nice design. Let me think. I believe I was able to follow it with no problem. What yarn did I use here? I had actually purchased, this is a cotton rayon blend, and I had actually purchased it because I thought it was a cotton linen blend. I purchased it at a shop local to me here, and I had one of the makes that I wanted to do for this October season was I wanted to make a blouse with a black cat, and so I purchased that yarn. It really wouldn't matter, would it, if I could even find it now? It really wouldn't matter if I could find it now because I can't read it. But I can show it to you. Maybe you can see it. So I'm just going to perch my little raven up here. Oh, that's it. This is the ball band. Can you see that? Probably not because it's got a yarn hanging in front of it. I think it says mimosa. Not sure. But I do remember that it is 50% cotton and 50% rayon. And looking at it, I thought that more or less it might be a DK weight. So, I can't really remember what... I know she uses a cotton acrylic blend. But I don't remember the weight. It had to be either DK or fingering because the hook was very small. I used a 2.5 because that's what I had. But I believe she mentioned something smaller, like a 2. It wasn't a 2.25. It was like a 2.15 and a 1.15, and I don't get those here, so I don't have them in my collection of hooks. And so the one thing that it was not difficult to make up the pieces. But the one thing that I did notice was that she was very, very detailed. She tried to get all the different pieces. She tried to get the hump that the ravens have on the back, and she tried to get the long tail, and she got the thighs here and the beak. So the wings have a top part and a bottom part, and the tail has 3 pieces. The feet are made in just crafting wire that is wrapped, but she does explain how to give them their shape. And then they are put on, not last, but at the end they are stuck into the filling of the body, and the body is pretty tight. It is a very tight fill. And so The beak also has a top part and a bottom part. But as with any amigurumi, I always find that I never have enough instructions for the attaching. I never have enough because it always seems to me like a puzzle not well explained. That exactly where you put things, at what spot, the legs, the feet were terrible. They gave me a lot of trouble, and I still think one is in pretty sturdy, the other one is not, and it was basically because the wire that you have to leave, the length of wire you need to leave so you can stick it into the body. On this one, I left it too short, even though it was the recommended length. They were too short for my body. It also turned out pretty small. Pretty small. I thought he was going to be larger. So you can get it to stand up. And if I don't move, it probably would stay there. But since I'm going to move, it's going to fall off. So I can't leave him there the whole episode. But if I want to have him on a table or something like that, he will stand up. I also noticed that that the top part of the wing, in comparison to the body, there was too many holes in it, and I didn't think enough at the time because this type of thing is very time consuming, and there were so many details that I really wanted to get it done, that it had a lot of holes in it, so I could see the filling definitely going through it because the holes were so big. And I didn't think at the time to fill it with some black batting that I do have around there. So I ended up trying here to felt over the holes. Might or might not have changed the look a little bit of those wings, but it served its purpose. It served its purpose. So I will say that for a small amigurumi doll or toy, I don't think it would be a toy. It's not sturdy enough to be a toy, I don't think. Decoration is fine. I did find the pattern a bit costly. And I say that with reserve because I do realize the amount of details. And then she's got like over 100 pictures. The thing about it was that since the bird is in black, she made the bird black even for the tutorial. The photographs were not always helpful because it was so dark that it was hard to see what I needed to see. Like, for example, what would I have needed to see? Like, what shape is that tail coming out? Where exactly are you putting it? And things like that. All the details of how to put the pieces together. Even though she does have photographs for all of that, they weren't always useful photographs because it was black yarn and it was very difficult to distinguish the features or the details, the even more details that I would have needed because I don't really make that thing quite so often. So I also thought it was going to come out bigger. Now, I'm not sure if you made it with a bulky weight yarn, you would get a bigger bird. I mean, sure, you would get a bigger bird, but there are some things that when you make them in a larger hook and in a larger yarn, you lose the shape. The shape does not transfer to larger gauges of yarn. So I don't know if it could be made that way. I would have loved to try, but I don't think that right now I have the motivation to try that again. So I'm not. I'll leave it up to you. If any of you do make this with a larger yarn, or let me know how it comes out. Let me see how it looks, because I don't think this looks bad, but I would have liked it to be a bit larger. Because I'm going to put it on my mantelpiece or on my shelves, and it's not going to be easy to see. But that's fine. So that is the last of my makes. Like I said, there are none whatsoever projects that I have begun. I have a lot of them on my mind. I did receive from my friend Catherine of Crafternoon Treats. she sent me this lace weight nylon. I purchased 2 and she sent me an extra one because I had told her that I had been wanting to experiment making crochet socks with a lace weight yarn just to see if the fabric is more like the knitted version. Some people complain about crochet socks because they feel the stitches, because the fabric, even though you're using fingering weight, is more like a DK weight, and they don't really want to wear that every day in their shoes. I don't have any of those problems, but it's just an experiment. I wanted to make up some socks using a nylon, and she had made up some of these to go to Yarndale, and so she had a couple left, put them on her Etsy, and I was able to grab a couple of them. So beautiful yarn, nice and soft too. Now I just need to muster up the courage and muster up the desire to cake these up, because that's always the bad thing about lace weight, isn't it? It's the caking up. But there are several people are producing projects. I know Hannah of the Cozy Cottage Crochet has a couple of shawls made from lace weight, and I believe the Crochet Project is also going to produce a new book, or they're at least thinking about their new book being on lace weight items, and so I feel there'll be a lot of use for it, and so that is something that was upcoming. But what I can tell you is that I haven't touched my knitted shawl. I haven't touched it at all, because whenever there is a crochet project in line, it just bumps the knitting project to the background. I know that I said that I was going to stop everything until I got that done. I lied. It happens. It happens. So I haven't touched that. Well, I haven't touched it enough. I've done maybe 1 or 2 rows, so no. So this is what I have. Oh, yes. One last thing before I said goodbye. Remember that I had said that since I was making doilies for my latest makes, and I actually purchased some that I never was able to complete, so I'll have to save them for next year. But I had requested, I asked you how many of you would be interested in a doily exchange. And some of you answered, not... I may be including myself. There are about 5 people who answered, and so I have not gotten around to sitting down with, because I wanted to wait until this new episode went up to make sure that anybody who had it on their list, oh yeah, I want to respond to that, would have had the time to do so. That please go to the Ravelry group, sign up if you are not already a subscriber to that group, and in the thread that I'm going to put up on the doily swap, please put your information, your Ravelry username, or your Instagram username, or your email, some way that we can contact you and I can tell you who you are going to be exchanging with. And please also put down some type of details, whether you are a holiday celebrator, whether you are not a holiday celebrator, whether you have a preference for holidays, whether you have a preference for themes or for colors. And let us know. Well, everybody will read that in the group, and then I will do the exchange. I will exchange partners, and so that you will receive you will know who you are sending to, and I might even include who you will be receiving from, because sometimes that helps. I mean, I will have it, of course, but sometimes that helps, and when things don't arrive in time, etc., we can contact that person and see what's up. Okay, so if you are interested in that doily exchange but had not mentioned it before, please go to the Ravelry group and sign up on the thread that is going to be available there. Hopefully by the time you're seeing this, it will be already available. And think about it. Maybe the last time you heard about it, you weren't so interested, but now you say, oh yeah, I think I could do that, and go sign up. So that was be all for today. Until we meet again, please keep yourself safe, keep yourself healthy, and keep crafting. And if you are a Halloween celebrator, well then, if you are Halloween celebrating, well, I hope your celebrations are very joyful and make you very happy. Until we see each other again, bye for now.